Hey y'all, today we're making potato chips in the air fryer. Okay, so obviously we're going to need some potatoes for our potato chips, right? So I am using two kind of medium-sized potatoes for this. This is going to make a ton more than you think it's going to make, so just keep that in mind, okay? I washed my potatoes up, scrubbed them up real good because I left the skins on them, and then I'm using the slicer attachment on my cheese grater to slice these. Now you can slice them however you want to slice them. If you have a mandolin, that will work perfectly. If you have a steady enough hand and you want to try to slice these with a knife, well, more power to you, but I ain't doing it. You need to try to get these as uniform as possible because that way they will cook evenly when you put them in your air fryer, okay? And as you can see, these two potatoes made a huge amount of potato chips, okay? I had to cook these in several batches. Well, 2 batches, and my air fryer has 2 racks in it. So this is how thin mine ended up being. So, just for reference. So once you get them sliced, you're going to put them into some really cold water, and we're going to let these sit for about 30 or 45 minutes. I know somebody's freaking out because I keep touching them, but I'm trying to get them under the water, okay? I wanted all of them under the water because when air hits potatoes, they turn brown and it's gross. So while they're soaking, I'm going to get my sour cream and onion mixture together. You need 1.5 tablespoons of powdered buttermilk, 1 tablespoon of onion powder, and then a big teaspoonful of some dried chives, okay? Then we're going to blend this up. You don't want the huge pieces of the chives in there, so we're blending it up so that everything is good and mixed together. And I had read when I was looking through recipes that if you don't blend it all together before you cook it, that it will curdle the buttermilk when you cook it. I don't know if that's fact or not, but that's what the Google told me, so I'm trying to avoid that. So once your potatoes have soaked, you're going to take about half of those potatoes and we're going to get those ready to bake because, again, I had to cook mine in batches. If you just have one potato and you can cook them all in one batch, then do them all in one batch. See how nasty that water is, all that starch and stuff in there? And I had washed those potatoes, so, clean them up. So leave them in the water, though, if you're only doing half because, again, you don't want your potatoes to turn brown. Then you want to rinse them off, and then once you've rinsed them off, I'm laying mine out on a paper towel. You can use a kitchen towel. You can use whatever kind of towel or drying apparatus you want to use, but you need to get these potato slices dry, okay? Because we want that our oil and our seasonings to stick to these. So I laid mine out on my paper towels, like I said, and I patted them with another couple of paper towels, and they still felt a little damp to me. Some of them were still, kind of wet. So I'm a little extra anyway, but I went ahead and just picked them up and just kind of patted them off individually. You don't have to do that if you don't want to. If you're like, that takes too much time, well, don't do it. I just did it, because that's the way I want to do it. So once my potatoes were dry, I'm spraying them with some cooking spray because I couldn't put my hands on my oil at the moment I was making these. So, but you can definitely use oil. You just don't want to use too much to where it's just dripping with oil, you know what I mean? We want them to be crispy, but we don't want them to be just soaked in oil, if that makes sense. So get them all mixed up. Make sure that you kind of pick them apart too, because they'll try to stick together because they're just little thin slices. You just want to make sure everything is good and coated in your oil so that the seasonings will stick. See how mine are kind of stuck together? I'm just kind of picking them apart right there. So they actually kind of look like Pringles, don't they, y'all, the way they are shaped? Anyway, so now you're going to take your sour cream and onion mixture that you made up and sprinkle that over the top. If you dump this on all at once, it tends to just stick on a few chips and not on others. I don't know, buttermilk has a weird texture. It's almost like cornstarch. It's just kind of weird. It's very fine, but it just hangs on to the first thing it hits. So I put a little on mine, mixed them up real good, then sprayed a little bit more oil, and then put the rest of the seasoning on. You just want to make sure that all of your potatoes have got a good bit of seasoning on them. And I will tell y'all this, I didn't add any salt to that mixture for the sour cream flavoring, but you do need some salt. I did add some. It's just you don't see it on camera. because it's not salty at all. And if, for me, if I'm eating potato chips, I want a little bit of salt. So just make sure you add a little salt to taste also to the sour cream and onion. So you're going to lay these out as single file as you can get them. If they overlap a little bit, it's okay. Just watch them, And then we're going to put these in the air fryer, 350 degrees Fahrenheit, for about 8 to 10 minutes. Then you're going to flip them over and we're going to cook them for another about 8 to 10 minutes. You just want to make sure that they are crispy, okay? If they're not, pretty crispy when you pull them out of the air fryer, they're not going to crisp up even further. Does that make sense? At least in my experience, they don't. So then I just lay mine out on some parchment paper and let them cool down, single file, so they don't stick together. So this is the other half of our potatoes. And y'all, like I said, this makes a ton. You see how many potatoes that this made? A lot. It makes a lot. So just, if you're just sitting at home and want some potatoes, some potato chips, one potato is plenty for one person. So I did the same thing. I patted them dry, and then I'm going to put a little bit of oil on them. And these are going to be because I decided, I'm just going to do, I'm going to go easy. I'm going to be simple. I'm going to do sour cream and onion and barbecue. Now for the barbecue seasoning, I'm using my rib rub. Y'all know I make my own rib rub. I will link the video down below if y'all are looking for a good rib rub or barbecue rub or whatever. I use this on chicken and everything else. I just started using it when I was making ribs one day, so that's why I call it rib rub, but it's a good barbecue rub. But you use whatever kind of barbecue seasoning you like, okay? Now, you usually don't have to add any salt to this because usually these kind of seasonings already have enough salt in it. We just didn't have any in the sour cream and onion. That's why I added it extra. So then we're just going to lay these out again, as single a line as you can get them. But if you have to overlap just a little bit, that's okay. Just kind of watch them. Everybody's air fryer is different. If stuff is really light, sometimes it flies around my air fryer. So, you just watch your own equipment. And I cooked those for the same amount of time that I cooked the sour cream and onion. 350 degrees Fahrenheit for about 8 to 10 minutes, and then flip them over in another 8 to 10 minutes. Y'all, these are super crispy and crunchy and delicious. They are so dang good. If you are looking to save a little bit of money, but you want to have a little snack or your kids to have a little snack, definitely try some air fried potato chips. They're super cheap because, a whole bag of potatoes is maybe $5 for the cheap ones. And we only use 2 potatoes for all these potato chips. You could make a ton out of a whole bag. And you know exactly what's in here. Quality control, y'all. And you know what's in there, and you can make them whatever flavor you want to make them. My son actually wants me to make him some salt and vinegar. That's his favorite. I haven't figured out how to do that yet, but I'm researching it, y'all. I'm researching it. But again, I started out simple, sour cream and onion and barbecue. They are delicious. If you've never tried them, you got to try them. All right, that's all I've got for y'all today, and I'll catch y'all on the next one. Bye, y'all.